This pack anywhere, take everywhere inverted delta antenna is perfect for HF, and it might be your next build. Stick around to learn more and offer suggestions for improvement below. These are telescopic whips that I picked up off Amazon for 40 bucks for the pair. And we need to string a wire from here to here. This is an over-center cam clamp that's going to clip onto the end of the antenna. Antenna goes in here. This will not open, so you've got wire there. You've got a crimp, and it makes a pretty solid connection. This whole system's designed to be lightweight. I'm going to put one of those together for you. The way that I ended up securing them, these holes are sized for filament. You can take a piece, break it off, melt it in, and you're good to go. Let's talk about the different parts that we have here for you. So the first is the base. It's got a couple design features. It's got a hole back here that you can put a 2mm rod through in case you want to stiffen everything up. We're going to run our wire through here, wrap it around, run it down the channel and into the jaw. The jaw pivots, right? No big deal there. But the clever part about this is this next piece. So this connector is part of a linkage, and when it's in place, this jaw cannot lift open. I mean, it can now because I don't have any hinge pieces in. But it can't do it because any movement acts to push this linkage further deeper into the hole. It's not going to go anywhere. So that leaves us with our last switch here. So this guy, when it lifts up, it pulls the linkage out of the hole, and then as you continue to rotate, the linkage opens up the jaw. So the cool thing about this is when it's closed, the only way that you're going to open it is with the handle here. So let's go to assemble one. The way that I made these, this little part does matter which way you put it in. In one way the holes will line up, and in the other way they won't. So that could stand for a revision. Make sure I get it on the right way. Once you put these things together, it is hard to take them apart. This is going to be the basic design. Sometimes you have to open up the holes with a little pin drill. Sometimes there's just a little schmutz from the 3D printing. The holes don't print exactly the way that you want them to. You put the plastic in and you level it up, and then you hit it with a hot soldering iron, and that melts the outside and leaves the inside to be the pivot point. Then I'm going to cut this guy off, do the same thing over here. Just give it a little tappy tap, and that first joint's done. We get another one. Try to get everything lined up, clear out the schmutz, just melting a little bit in, cut the excess off, heading boop, done. So that's the first two joints. We're going to do that again with the next two. Boop, 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 boop. We'll add the wires next, and I'll show you a trick to keep them in. But this is the cam clamp. It's really a 4-bar linkage. Lightweight, small, and you just run your wire through, wrap it around. If you're worried about it coming out, there's a hole there. You can, like I said, put a little M2 screw or rod in, run the wire up, and run the wire in, and you're set. And if you want, you could even put a little piece of copper in there to run it around and solder it and make an even tighter connection. But I think that's going to be okay. So that is the cam clamp, and again, it just goes on like that, and once it's on, it never comes off. How cool is that? Files should already be on GitHub for you. Next up, we need a way to hold these antennas. The key to this is the same as this width, and this length is half the distance from here to here. So when this is extended, that gives me a 30-degree angle on each side, which splays these things at 60 degrees apart from one another. Yay, geometry. How cool is that? You put this on a 1/2-inch rod, and there's some clamp pieces here to keep it from going too low. You put your balun on, you can drive your rod into the ground, and ready to rock and roll. So we're going to finish up this part. These are M10 nuts. I'm going to take one of these little quick terminal rings and just fold it down and mash it into the hole. Next up, I'm going to prep my wire. Although I hate doing it this way, I'm just grabbing it with needle nose and giving it a little bit of pressure, and then I'll come back with a little bit more solder and finish off the job. Components like this is you can't really hurt them with too much heat. So what we've got to do now, once this cools, is get this part centered over here and get the rest of that metal out of the way and fold it over. So I'm going to go back to my Dremel and just just open up this hole a little bit. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. All right, so we've just opening up that channel because this guy is going to get an antenna in, and then the rest of it's going to get folded over and out of the way. Even if it's the last thing I do on the stream, it won't be. We'll finish building it. Okay, I need to dig a little bit because this guy's going to have to be a lot more flush, so I have to cut out a little bit more material. You don't have to use a Dremel. In fact, the Dremel might not be the best thing. So that's probably going to be flush enough to do what I need it to do. Now, I'm going to take a little extra wire, and the hard part is going to be getting this wire into these holes, into the holes that come out the bottom of this. Probably the smart thing to do would have been to feed it up and then draw it back. So I'm going to solder the wire onto the other wire and then just yank it through. That's the plan. Is it a good plan? I have no idea, but that's what I'm doing. There's a sleeve, and the reason I did this as a second piece was I wasn't sure the consistency or manufacturing tolerances of all these different manufacturers making these. I figured this would be the easiest way to change it out. So there's a threaded cap, a sleeve, an electrical connector, and a mechanical one. And the thing that keeps this thing from spinning inside is these little tiny splines on the edges. Once everything is aligned, I should be able to slide this thing in, get it down the hole, and then twist it until it lines up. There it goes. So it's fully seated. We can get that over the other camera. So this is the gray part's fully seated, so now I can tighten this. Took a little doing, but that is going to be our V base. It can stand up to quite a bit of abuse. These wires get trimmed once on the pole so that they made up with the balun that we made. Again, it's all designed to go on a 1/2-inch riser. There are some parts in there that can act as clamps on your pole. I still have to get a 1/2-inch pole. I hope if it's something you're interested in, you can build it and maybe improve on it and make it a little better. But we've got a working balun, we've got a working antenna mount, and probably the coolest thing is we've got these working cam action clips, and I don't know if it gets any cooler than that. Let's take this thing apart. So to unpack this and prepare to use it, you're going to go ahead and take the antennas off. The wires are held in place with these wire guards, and the ends clip in right there. So to get your wire free, you can adjust the antenna catches for the wire, for your wire length, and then you can leave that on, or I'm going to take it off. So that'll settle right there. When you're done and you're ready to put everything back together, take your antennas off, set them off to the side, get your wire guards on and ready to go. Get your first antenna clamp caught over there on the end somewhere, and then we're just going to start wrapping this bad boy. Get that caught, then you get your antenna on and lined up, and you're packed up and ready to go.
Depending on what the impedance needs are, roller coil, the tuning dial for the capacitor,